Well, I guess I will start like I would at an AA meeting. Hi, my name's Joe. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I also suffer from depression, and I abused prescription drugs. I grew up in a very normal nuclear family. Parents, 3 siblings, a good life. We went to church every weekend. I was involved in church. I graduated, went on to college. By the age of 24, I owned my own business. On November 30th, 2002, I married what I thought was the love of my life. We had 2 children. My life was great. I had no issues. On March 13th, 2020, COVID shut down everything. So what did I do in the meantime? I sat in my recliner and I started drinking heavier and heavier. I watched TV. We did stuff with the kids around the house. I lost interest in working outside. I lost interest in my gardening. On July 8th, 2021, my world exploded. It fell apart. My wife wanted nothing to do with me. I came home from work that day. There was a letter and an envelope from her lawyer with it all laid out. No questions asked, no chance for a reconciliation. And that's when my depression started in. With all of my thinking going through my head, I couldn't sleep. It was raging through me. I just couldn't sleep at all. I had a doctor prescribe sleeping pills. I didn't realize while I was sitting at home drinking and not sleeping that I would wake up in the middle of the night, restless, not able to go back to sleep. I'd go take another sleeping pill. The most I can count and remember in one evening, I took 6 sleeping pills. I shouldn't have woken up the next morning. I gave up on my job. I gave up on my life. I gave up on everything. I couldn't see a feasible future for me at that time. My twins were asking me, "Dad, are you still drinking?" No, I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking. I denied it. On the 2nd of January, right after the new year, I was looking for something for my son, when my daughter came to help me. And that's when she found an empty bottle of vodka and a full bottle of vodka in my bedroom in a satchel that I had hanging up. My kids that night walked out the door, and I didn't know if I was ever going to see them again. On the 4th of January, I got home from work. I was sitting in my rocking chair in the den when a vehicle pulled in my driveway. I didn't know whose vehicle it was, but I sat there looking out the window. My daughter got out of the car. My 2 brothers that live locally got out of the car and started walking to the front door. I knew right then and there that I was dead. My soul was dead. That was the night that I called the crisis hotline for help. On the 5th of January, I was on a plane to California. I went to rehab in California, and it was with Elevations in Calabasas. And while I was in rehab, I had counseling every day. They actually had me in crisis counseling because of the depression that I was in. And I detoxed for 5 days and started attending AA meetings out in California. I have always been involved with the church. I've always been involved with community activities, and I had locked myself away for almost 2 years of my life, either putting on a face, that, oh, hey, everything's great, I'm doing fine. And I really wasn't. I was killing myself, is what I was doing. Since I've been home from California, ironically, we're taping this on the 7th of February, and that's the day I flew home from rehab 1 year ago today. I started coming to church here at Zion. I started attending as many AA meetings in town as possible. I am now 1 year in my sobriety. I fight every day to keep a clear mind, but it's easy to do so when I feel good about myself. I feel good about my home. I feel good about the work that I'm doing. First and foremost, I have to love myself before I can give love, help, or advice to anyone. I did not feel any kind of love for myself. And helping people and sharing my experience and what I've learned through the last year, if it helps them a minute second and keeps them sober for one more day, that they are working towards their serenity and their sobriety, that gives me a sense of hope, a sense of giving, a sense of just being able to be there for people. And that's what I think God has in store for me. He wants me here to help people and to serve them. And I have chosen in my second year to serve AA, and I greet new people all the time. I get their numbers. I make sure that they're coming to meetings. I am working with 2 guys that have just started, and I'm learning more about myself by helping them. And it's not only what AA calls us to do, I believe it's what God calls me to do as well, to share my story, to share my experience. I am not ashamed of what I went through. I'm very excited to share my story with anybody, because sharing my story helps me heal.